Uh, yeah, just one moment. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Skillemme, it's my pleasure to welcome all of you to today's panel discussion. Thank you for taking the time to join us. We truly appreciate your presence and are excited to have you with us for what promises to be an insightful conversation. The way we consume content has changed dramatically over the years, whether it's entertainment, shopping, or even food delivery. We have come to expect experiences that are personalized, on demand, and engaging. Naturally, this raises an important question. Should learning at the workplace be any different? This brings us to today's thought provoking topic. Is corporate learning facing its Netflix moment? To help us navigate this discussion, we have an outstanding panel of learning and development leaders who bring diverse experiences from across industries. Let me introduce our distinguished panelists. Our first panelist is Mr. Pankaj Sharma, Head HR and LNOD at HCG Healthcare, an accomplished learning and development leader with rich experience in talent development, leadership capability building, and creating impactful learning ecosystem that enable business growth. Welcome, Mr. Pankaj.
Thank you so much, Palak.
Joining us next is Mr. Souvik Das Gupta, Senior Manager, Talent Development at Product. With over 2 decades of experience, Mr. Souvik has led large-scale technology learning initiatives and has been instrumental in driving digital learning transformation and building future-ready talent. Welcome, Mr. Souvik.
Thank you very much, Palak.
On third panelist is Mr. Yadav, Operations Learning Manager at OSB India Private Limited. Mr. Yadav brings deep expertise in operational learning, coaching, AI-enabled learning, and developing high-performing teams through structured capability initiatives. Welcome, Mr. Yadav.
Thanks, Palak.
So we also have with us Mr. Arjun Balasubramanian, Director, Learning and Development at Movate, and a learning and talent professional who has been actively involved in designing learning strategies, leadership development programs, and capability building initiatives that support organizational transformation. Welcome, Mr. Arjun. Finally, we are delighted to welcome Mr. Nishant Dasari, Senior Manager, Learning and Development at Berkadia Services India Private Limited. He is passionate about building scalable learning ecosystem and helping organizations prepare their workforce for future through innovative and technology-enabled learning solutions. Welcome, Mr. Nishant.
Thank you, Palak, and happy to be here. Hello, everybody.
We are truly privileged to have such an experienced panel with us today, and I'm sure they'll share valuable perspectives, practical experiences, and actionable insights on the future of corporate learning. To moderate today's discussion, we have Mr. Kenneth Sikoria from H&M, a seasoned learning and development leader with extensive experience in leadership development, talent transformation, and learning strategy. Mr. Kenneth has worked closely with organizations to build learning culture and create meaningful business impact. And we're delighted to have him guide today's session.
Thank you, Palak.
Thank you, Mr. Kenneth, for being with us. Over to you. Stage is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I can always trust Swaroop and the Skillemme team to come up with very interesting topics. And when Swaroop asked me to moderate this, I think it was just incidental that my membership for Netflix subscription got renewed. So at the time when he asked, I was wondering, was it someone listening in on what's going on my mobile? But anyways, keeping all the laughs aside, I think it's certainly is an interesting topic, and I want to get all our incidentally all gentlemen, all our lovely gentlemen here on the call to share perhaps their initial thoughts on the topic itself, saying that we're looking at learning sort of going through a transformation over the last few years. And there is certainly a change in the way learning needs to present itself to the learners. I want to get each one of you in here to sort of see, to share what are some of those big shifts that perhaps are true to our topic today of us experiencing a Netflix moment in learning. I'll invite Pankaj to go first, please.
So, thank you so much to the organizers, Swaroop, Palak, and Kenneth for having me here, and thanks for organizing this interesting, topic, Netflix moment. So, I believe personally that I am a lifelong learner, and I am absolutely fascinated by the people whomsoever I meet, and I see that there is something to learn from each and everyone, no matter of designation, hierarchy, or everything. Even I am so much so fascinated to learn from these Uber drivers, auto wala. Their stories are amazing. When you literally go little near to them, you will be going to learn a lot from them. So for me, the Netflix moment, especially from the perspective of learning and development, is understanding the shift which is happening from the traditional and the conventional way of learning towards the augmentation of the technology. And in this augmentation of the technology, I believe that suppose if my learners are there in front of me, I always take care that me and my team members, they take care of four important things. That is called VARK. Now, what is this VARK? VARK stands for the different type of learning styles: visual, auditory, reading, and kinesthetic. So if there are a bunch of people in front of me, they all have these four different type of learning styles. But as a facilitator, as a L&D person, do I know and understand about these people? The way, and that is why I also have my own predominant learning, the learning delivery style. So is it really matching with the different group of people? So do I have that audience analysis in front of me? Do I have their repository from where they're coming? Right? The organization shift is happening, and in this entire shift of the organization, there is a principle in L&D which is called the 6D principle. And how you keep the business interest and the business outcome in the mind, and you plan everything in front of the learners, and you make sure that you meet with the organizational and the objective of that particular learning session. So amongst all these different modalities, this is called the defining the learning. What is the learning which you are defining? And after defining, you are keeping your business leaders aligned that this is the learning which I am defining. Are you okay with this? So the touch point again and again going to the business leaders after designing the learning, deliver the learning. And after delivering the learning, there is an important thing called drive the learning, deploy the learning, and then document the learning. So in this all 6D model, do I keep my business people along with me? Or is it really going to be me, and my show? So the moment I involve and engage with the business leaders, they feel they can understand that this is something which is happening and L&D person is really putting their efforts. So keeping this in the mind, the all modalities and everything, I always tell, the L&D leaders keep always this principle called TTT. So normally people understand TTT is called train the trainer. It's not train the trainer. It's before you begin the session, tell them what you will going to tell them. In mid the session, between the session, tell them what are you telling them. At the end of the session, tell them what have you told them. So what is this telling and told is called the business objective. We are going to learn this. As per the recent survey and the report by Emma Weber, she runs an international organization. She said that as per the report and the survey done, that 60% people sitting in the session, they are not aware why they have been sent into the session. So there's a responsibility, and the larger aspect and lies on the shoulder of a person who is leading the function over there. And if we just keep these nuances in the mind, I think we will be able to justify with the business, and we will be going to make them understand and then learn how business transformation, that shift will happen. Keeping all this, the training evolution and the Kirkpatrick model, reaction, learning, behavior, result, business impact, and the ROI and all those things. These are the few important nuances. If people keep in the mind, I'm sure the business success will going to happen.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Bhavesh. I think the valuable point that you brought forth is of connecting the learner to the business interest and to the engagement that we have with them. So it certainly is a valuable piece. I'll request Mr. Souvik to come in. I'd request all our panelists also to be intentional with what they're sharing, because we of course have a very august panel. We'd want to give everyone sufficient time, and we have a lot of segments that we'd want to cover in this 1 hour talk. So just be mindful of the responses. So, Mr. Souvik, if I could get your inputs in on that Netflix moment that you feel is present
Yeah,
in learning today.
yes, sure. So it's indeed an interesting topic. When I first saw the topic, I felt it is definitely an interesting one. So I'd like to start by giving an example. What if Netflix is a learning management system for one day? Okay, so with the FIFA World Cup currently going on, so we have some CR7 or Ronaldo fans and some Messi fans. What if I give them a curriculum in our language, what is called curriculum, which is a plethora of courses? We give them a curriculum of greatest comebacks in the footballing history. And the first episode is Messi, and we are giving it to a CR7 fans. Okay, will they accept? They will certainly say, no, the AI is not trained, or something like that, they will say. To add above, over and above that, if I say, okay, you need to complete 80% of this Messi's episode, which probably will be the last match, Argentina versus Egypt, a story around that. You have to complete 80% of that, and then you have to go through the assessment, and then only you get access to the next module. That person will immediately cancel his subscription. Okay, so for me, I think currently what exactly is that one size fits all will no longer work. Okay, so learning needs to be relevant to the audience who will be learning, and learning should be followed by opportunities to apply those learning. It shouldn't be like I will be moving out of the classroom and I'll forget it completely. I don't apply in my daily job, and it is done. So it's showing I get a certificate, I put it up in LinkedIn. Learning will not happen that way. You have to be provided with ample opportunities to apply those learnings. So that is my point.
Wonderful, and a very apt analogy that you've used. In fact, it got me thinking on that many-to-many connect that has now become extremely relevant. And in that kind of a world, we're seeing L&D professionals actually going from designers of content and administrators of content to becoming curators of content, because there's just so much content out there that a successful L&D team is usually one who's
Yeah.
able to connect the right, as if I could extend your analogy, connect
Yeah.
a
Content with the
CR7
right
fan to
content.
to a CR7 content.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So,
Great. Thanks for sharing that. Mr. Yadav, if I could get your input in here on the Netflix moment that you've experienced in your career with learning. Hello.
Have already mentioned. And what
Mr. Yadav, if you can hear us, I
earlier,
think we're having a
can you
bit
hear
of a
me?
choppy connection.
Can you hear me
We
now?
lost. We can
Oh,
hear. I
God.
can hear you now, loud and clear. Yeah.
I can hear you. Okay, sorry. I was just saying I would go back and connect to what Mr. Souvik and Pankaj also mentioned is firstly, the principles are still core and center of everything that we do. But the landscape is changing, right? And that's where the term Netflix is also coming into picture because the kind of learners have changed. The demography of people that we are trying to train have completely changed. And the requirements from the my specific area operations is also that I don't have a lot of time. I can't let people off the floor. I don't have 2 hours or 3 hours in a day for them to step out and train, and I can't definitely let the whole group out, the whole team, right? Because the business has to still continue along parallelly along with the training happening. So that is where I feel the Netflix moment is really kicking in, because people are able to access learning on the go. People are accessing while they are in their cabs towards work through the phone using the LMS platforms that we have. And LXP is kind of with AI taking it to the next level now, relating to what Souvik mentioned. It's definitely ensuring a Messi fan gets Messi related data and content related to that, so that they are a lot more engaged, and they are focused on the learning. And it's also a lot of pull mechanism, right? We are not pushing people to learn anymore. We are giving the learning out there, and we are promoting it for them to take it on. So that's where I think the real change is happening on and that's where the topic is really apt for the time.
Absolutely. And you brought up an important point. I mean, it's an important theme in our day and age of the role of AI in learning. I can't tell you how
Yeah.
many folks within my work network and circles have asked me what's the impact that AI has had on learning. And I always struggle to be able to give them a consistent answer, because every time there's something new that comes into that space. But certainly there is this overarching theme of customization and availability of learning. And you brought very interesting points of easy access of learning at the point in time that the learner requires it, and also, if I may add, a large diversity of learning that's available in terms of content and
Yeah.
modalities. So definitely makes it for an interesting mix. Uh, uh, Mr. Bala, if I could get your inputs in here, with your experience with an IT and digital consulting company like Moveit, what's sort of the trend that you see that are disruptive in that sense, and sort of show having a Netflix moment itself within the learning function?
Thank you. This is Arjun, and
Sorry about that. Yeah.
no problem. So, thank you for having me today. And what I feel is, I think everyone mentioned that there is a lot of content available, right? But if you look at um, the transformation that's happening now with these content providers, is that they now have an option with AI where you can search for the content you need, and it actually picks the modules from across thousands of courses and gives you the exact content that you want to apply to the job. Like some of the others, Pankaj and Sauvik mentioned, business outcomes is what L&D should drive, not your generic Kirkpatrick's model. You have L1, you have L2, and you keep tracking that, and then you drop dead after the training when you go to the next batch, and then the next batch, and then what happens to the batch that actually got trained? We have instructors who can train on AI. We have courses that can be numerous courses across a wide variety of platforms a topic like AI. But then, does it actually make that person create a quick proof of concept for their customer? And with the technology available now,
Hmm.
they can actually do that in a day or a two. But I need to know the specific tools that the customer is using. And I can't go through the whole course. I can't figure out where that content is. I have to, right now, I have 30 minutes and I want to know how to use a Copilot Studio to create a specific type of agent for that scenario. So I think a lot of content curators are now providing that option, and you are able to search across a wide gamut of videos, courses, and pinpoint exactly what you need for that skill, and you're able to make use of that.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think, Mr. Arjun, as you've pointed out, uh, the theme that comes out again is this aspect of the paucity of time and the absolute urgency of uh, the need for that learning, and therefore not having enough time to be able to search for the content on our own. Researching, of course, is now uh, turned around on its head, with the way AI is able to help us be able to find exactly the content that we need, and therefore higher chances of being able to create impact. So it certainly is a shift that tech has brought in the way learners consume content, the way they find it. Mr. Nishant, I wanted to finally get you in on your experience with Berkadia, and to share what are some of those disruptive pieces that you're seeing in the learning space there.
Yeah, I think it's nothing new. It's for years and decades we've been experiencing different shifts in the learning world, and I'm going to piggyback a lot on what my peers said so far. I see learning as GPS. We don't use Google Maps because we enjoy using Google Maps. We use it because we need Google Maps, and I think that's one shift that we'll be always chasing. Netflix moment. I don't think we've had a Netflix moment. It's been buffering for years, right? The content is there. The model could be the problem, and that's where I might have to slightly differ in my experience from what Yadav said. Netflix is the pull, definitely, and I think we're still push. The content's loaded. Content generation can happen with time. AI is there. I think what's stalling us is from getting through to the learners, not just engagement, right? Getting through to the learners and translating that into business impact is um, well, perhaps the contextualization, not just personalization, but contextualization, and having it available in time of need. And that's where Netflix actually wins, right? It's there when you need it. It's curated to how you feel at that point in time, and you have the choice to watch, it at a particular time. I mean, Netflix won't come to you and tell you, you know what, today what's on cards is a horror movie. So you have to watch it and finish in 30 minutes. I think that's one difference that's definitely there. And that's something that we'd be chasing for a long time. Even, Arjun, I think, touched upon a very important point about agentic AI a little bit. I think we're still in early stages. I think I don't know, we're probably looking at mid to 2027. uh, I think by then it might be a little more mainstream than it is right now. I see in my research about 11 to 17% of the organizations are actually employing agentic AI in terms of learning alone, right? It's great, it's fantastic. I think to get there, especially for an organization like us, which is into finance, we are a little more skeptical than other kinds of industries and businesses, perhaps because of the security, governance, data protection requirements. So that is something that we'd be looking at keenly. So yeah, it's not a business where we act fast and break things. So we have to be a little more skeptical in approaching that. So yeah, that's where we stand.
True. And thanks for that, Nishant. And I was wondering, we want to move to the next section, picking up from what each one of you have shared. The role, I think, compared to Netflix, what I'm seeing is that there is a slight difference in the sense that on a streaming service, typically it is content that is used for entertainment. We aren't really expecting people to change themselves on account of a show that they've watched, although that can happen at times based on the show that you're watching. But certainly with every learning program, the intent is that there is, as many of you pointed out, that there is application, that there is relevance to what is being done. At the end of it, the learning is to serve a certain purpose, which is for a change in outcomes, a change in behavior, a change in kind of business scenarios and environment we're able to create. So that becomes important. And keeping that context in mind, I wanted to focus this next segment really on the learner, and then perhaps move post that to understanding the tech that can be involved. On the learner front, Nishant, if I could pull you in again here, it's curious to sort of understand your take on the role of the learner's behavior in being able to drive their own learning. What is your experience tell you on that front?
That is very important, and we can only facilitate as L&D or talent development group. We can only facilitate an environment to provide a platform for learning. At the end of the day, I think the learner and the motivation the learner carries plays a big role, including that of a manager, right? I think, at times give very little credit to what the manager can actually do on the floor, how they can contextualize the learning that we kind of create in the classroom environment, or could be any environment, right, on the laptop as well. So I think those things are important, and we have to give it more credit than what we do at the moment, I think. And when you think of learning and learning experiences, no matter what kind of experience it is, especially when it's designed for an hour, or 2 hours or a day. I hope I'm still connected because I lost connectivity on my. Okay.
No, we can hear you. Yes.
Great, great, great. So it's like water in a bucket with a hole at the bottom, because by the end of the first week, 90% of the learning is gone, and without reinforcement, without making learning a habit and behavior as a habit, I think we're at the end of the day lost. 70% of the learning is gone within a day. I mean, there are a lot of studies that and science and reports that back up what I'm saying right now as well. And I'm sure everybody's aware of that. So I think what is needed is how we can motivate the learners to be able to practice. And how do you drive that is on to us, of course. But essentially, what I'm saying is this: yeah, the motivation of learner is very important, and to motivate the learner, we need to follow the Netflix model of pull instead of.
True that. And an interesting point that came out from there was also the fact that it's not just the learner alone, that there is that ecosystem that they rely on. You spoke of the manager influence, and I was thinking, Arjun, if I could get your input in here on how do we enhance that ecosystem that a learner has, so they're able to move towards the right content and are able to absorb it and able to apply it back and not suffer that kind of loss that Nishant spoke about.
I think one of the things that content development platforms have given us is the ability for anyone to be able to create content. And any mid-sized or even a startup for that matter, or a large company, would have subject matter experts. And I think our responsibility is to make the learners meet the subject matter experts using these tools and technologies. So the subject matter experts who may not be trainers, right? See, I know we have a lot of content on different fields, but they're all focused on IT or even AI. But even there, I see a large gap in the way this can actually be implemented for an enterprise transformation for a customer. I don't see courses that actually show me how to scale up my application when the customer is using certain platforms and tools. So, but the subject matter expert knows that. And what we need to do them is equip them with rapid content development tools, AI enabled tools. They can quickly record videos and it comes up like a course with an assessment, with an assignment, right? They don't have to depend on an instructional designer to go ahead and do that. And when the subject matter expert does that, the learner automatically relates to what they are doing because ideally that person would have been the one to coach or mentor this learner. But now they have the tools to learn directly from the subject matter expert who's within the organization. So they get the context, they are part of the same domain. Now it's a course from a person they might actually know. So enabling subject matter experts with these AI enabled content development tools, any domain it might be, I think that's going to help the learner apply the content rather than just going through that.
Mm-hmm. And you've touched a very if I may use the term, raw nerve for L&D professionals, which is that of the application of the learning itself. Usually, it's about a great program that's been done with great feedback that we've got, but the battle is lost then once the learner moves out of the classroom environment or the online learning environment into the shop floor, and then they aren't able to really translate that learning into applied success at the workplace, and that usually becomes a challenge. So getting that kind of support from the ecosystem, and maybe if I could extend that idea further, perhaps even look at agentic AI tools and chatbots coming in to play the role of the SME as well, where they're able to support them not just on the learning but on the application part of it. But thanks for sharing that. Souvik, I wanted to get your perspective in here with a very, very special cohort, which is our high potential talent. This is a group that is generally higher on performance, but on the learning front, they're also extremely curious and have a voracious appetite for learning. How do we make it such that we're able to support them better for learning in this kind of a new setup and environment?
Well, that's a very interesting question. So this is something which goes beyond the purview of L&D. As in, I think for the business leaders also will have a big role to play here to show them the bigger picture. So succession planning is something which should be dependent on this learning, not only learning, but application of learning. If I am learning something and then I'm able to apply that learning to a particular thing and which is and bringing in innovation to my current project, which is bringing in revenue, there should be a suitable reward and recognition mechanism for these people. So like instead of hiring from the market, we can ask these people to grow up in the ladder. We can get them promoted and all those things. So there's for this high potential performance, the important word which should be there is retention. What are the things we will be having to retain these talents so that they can contribute back to the project or they are working in, or in a way to the contribute to the company. So this is very, very important in my view.
True that, and you've touched upon a very important point of there being a holistic approach towards developing the talent, and very rightly said that L&D alone or talent development teams alone cannot take care of high potential talent within the org. So it really doesn't become solving the challenge of how do we provide better development opportunities for talent within the org, but to look at it as how do we better retain them, engage them, recognize them for the work that they do, give them the visibility and the opportunities, and the leaders play quite a crucial role in all of that.
Yes.
Thanks for that, Mr. Shavik. Let me now get in Mr. Pankaj here, and then finally Yadav in on this. The role that L&D plays is of course starting to transform, but alongside it, there is a larger role that that the HR partners, business partners, need to play as well in making this new setup work. If I could get both of your opinions first, Mr. Pankaj, and then Mr. Yadav, on what are some of those expectations that you would have of HR and of business teams as they support their learners in this new environment of learning?
Thanks, Kenneth, for a very interesting question. When I was really listening, Souvik, for when he was sharing about the iPods. iPods are the reservoir and maybe the sole resource of the company. Very, very important thing, the talent. And the talent should not move out. The drainage of talent is the biggest loss for any organization, the person whom you nurtured, trained, and becoming a performance. And that's the very vulnerable time for that particular organization that the other your competitors are looking for this talent. So, a very important shift. What business leaders are there absolutely working in the business emergencies and the exigencies? Who will give them this mindset of, you need to bring something new in, and this is the time where I used to call this is the psychology that vision is called as a tunnel vision. So tunnel vision especially specifically says that when you are absolutely in the tunnel, you won't be able to see outside what is happening there. And that's the phenomena people are going through in the business. Who will give them this different insights? It's the responsibility of a business leader, a business HR. It's the responsibility of a talent management head, or maybe the people those are working in the L&D department. So what is happening outside, this is really important. Otherwise, also it depends upon the business leader who is the pro L&D mindset or having the training mindset for putting people in the workshop. Otherwise, people are thinking that some business leader, this is the wastage of time. So you need to absolutely align them as per the organization and the need of that particular organization, that what is really important. You need to really sound them, and you need to be very, very careful while you are sounding them with all these things which are happening over there. I would recommend always here, take some success stories along with you. There are lots and lots of case studies available from Harvard, from a lot of the institutes, which clearly speaks that this is something which may bring change here. And take always the one or one, two, three, four, five examples this organization has implemented and they got benefited because of this retention of the high pod, this learning intervention into the organization. See the approach, what as a business HR or business, the L&D person or the talent management person, you need to see very prudential. You need to see ahead of the time what people can't see. So and you need to really make them understand that this is something which is a need of an hour, which probably give us these things. So have these examples in front of you. How you communicate, this is something, this is called the business storytelling. And the person need to be very, very expert into that when it comes to the business storytelling. Business leader, they are always, that is why it is said that now that feature and the benefit. Benefit always tells about the product, feature always tells about the product. So whatever the learning intervention you would like to bring in here, talk first about the benefits. People are very, very business leaders are looking for that interest into the business and the growth and the performance. I think if we can think about all this areas, we will be able to contribute much better way to the organization, especially by taking the business leaders in the favor.
Thanks for sharing that, Mr. Pankaj. Yadav, if I could get your inputs in here as well on the role of HR.
Absolutely, Kenneth. I would say we should not limit it just with the HR. It's the entire ecosystem that needs to be appropriate for this kind of a transition. So, what I would say is with the learning transformation, you need to also parallelly have an organizational transformation if possible. Okay, because firstly, you may want to start with things like what is it you want to see the organization achieve in the next 5 years, and then work backwards from there. And that then it brings in the question of, okay, where is our skills taxonomy at this point of time, right? Where do we stand and where do we want to reach from the skills perspective? And that becomes a carrot and a stick kind of situation for the people who are going through the learning, right? You tell them, okay, this is where you stand in terms of the skills, and if you want to be sustainable within the organization and see steady growth and all of it, we would want you to scale up to a certain level, right? So you bring in the skill proficiency model and things like that there, and then provide the learning. So the LMS platforms nowadays have all of these coupled with each other, right? You just don't have the learning. You can also do your skills taxonomy within them and make that visible for people. Now, in a lot of situations, awareness is what is missing. They really don't know, the learners really don't know where they stand in terms of skill sets. And I'm really talking beyond the process aspects of learning. Process will keep changing, but I feel the behavior and the and the zeal to learn comes in purely from them understanding where they are and where they need to get to, and us as L&D professionals enabling those learnings. So the technology, the AI, and all of it are tools that still going to be used by us to facilitate, right? So I don't think the question of is AI going to take away our jobs and things like that need to be worried about. It's all about you knowing how to use them, put them into play, and then creating this whole environment of learning. It'll have an automatic push and pull kind of situation where people will try to learn, and then and you're definitely going to have those clock workers, right, who don't want to do anything, who want to come and just do their shift, do their duty for the day and go back. We can't do much with that set of a people, but people who want to learn will automatically pick up and run with an environment like this provided.
Very true, and it is perhaps an area that not most organizations are comfortable with. The idea that learning and development is not for all. Maybe not all have the appetite to be able to learn at the pace at which we want to make learning available, but it does become important for individuals to be able to take the learning and go through the development and the change that is necessary for them to be able to function effectively within the organization. But certainly, the zeal that is needed for learning and finding why want to learn is very important for every learner and every individual within the organization to have, even if it's a small piece that they need to move. I'm going to open up the next question to all the panel members, and would request you to come in with, say, one idea within that would be relevant here. As I said, we'll look at the piece around technology because it is playing a vital role. In your experience, what are some of the tech pieces that need to come in to make this new world of learning possible, based on your experience that you've seen, or maybe ideas that are floating out there, and we're hoping for a product to come in soon there. So each one of you, I'd request, in whichever order you'd like to go, could come in with one piece of tech that you feel can help with this Netflix movement of learning.
Yeah.
I will,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
please go ahead, Nishant. No problem.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. I just wanted to say, firstly, a very simple LMS with an authoring tool built in will solve a lot of problem. And again, connecting to various people, the panelists who have mentioned how easy it'll be when an SME is able to get his hands on or her hands on creating content off the shelf, and will be able to, because they know what is the actual problem on the floor, and they should be able to find the solution so much more easily. So that'll be one thing. And again, AI, at least a chat version being available for all staff, just not a particular group, is what I would say, because everybody's using AI right now, in every walk of their life, on the phones and things like that. So, if again, with restrictions, uh, I feel right now with Microsoft, most of the tools do come in with AI enabled actions, so they can use that. These will be some of the basics that we would need to start with, is what I think.
Great, thanks for sharing that. Nishant, you could go next
Sure,
since
sure.
you were, yeah.
Yeah, and thank you, Yadav, for your perspective. I think I was going the same way. What I feel is in the next 2 to 3 years, it's all going to come together anyway. But if there is one piece of tech that I really like, which has worked really well for me and for a lot of learners I know, especially high, is the LinkedIn AI coaching. Again, like I said, it's all going to come together into one package with agentic AI and everything into one ecosystem for the learners, so really available. But it can be integrated with MS Teams, LinkedIn AI Coach. I don't know if how many of you've had the opportunity to go there. You can create your own scenarios. You can create your own simulations. No matter how challenging you want to make it, you are going to go have a sales conversation. You can actually practice that with the AI code, and it gives you detailed feedback on what you did well, what where your areas of improvement, and then it'll curate some videos for you. Hey, here are the videos that can help you get better. I think that is one piece of fantastic technology. It's been around for a year or two, I suppose, but it's great.
Great. Rather panelists, any?
Yeah, I'd like to go in next.
Yes,
Yes,
sorry.
AI is something which is, of course, which is the required to be brought in the system. Apart from that, what I feel is important is the connectedness. Okay, so in a lot of organization, we have noticed that the employee management system and the learning management system is different, with two systems not talking to each other. That will actually not solve the purpose. So if we imbibe an AI tool inside an LMS, it should be able to fetch all his records, starting from his skills to whether he is having visa for some other countries. It should be able to fetch all the records and then suggest. That will make the learning more and more relevant to them. Okay. So, say for example, I have a requirement of somebody who needs to travel to some country, for example, Spain. Okay, so it will be able to pull the data from my database, that who are the people who are traveling, who can travel, passport, visa validity, all those things. If they are trained or not, they should be able to pull that data and then create a customized learning path. For example, the cultural aspects we can create. A cultural aspects of Spain, what is important for me to keep in mind when I'm moving into Spain. So that sort of connectivity we need to create. Yes, AI can be brought into LMS, but how we are connecting with all the other tools that we have in the organization, of course, with the restrictions and guardrails, specific guardrails in AI terms, that will become very, very important, is what I feel.
Yeah, and you've touched upon an important point, Mr. Shovik, because it is the challenge with APIs that we have between one system and another is a problem. I think
Exactly.
every L&D professional has
They
struggled
don't
with.
talk to each other. So that is the
Yeah,
challenge which I heard a lot
yeah,
of my colleagues who
yeah,
are
and
personally
and the packages that they create to create that translation and connection as well is very basic at best many a times, and yes, it provides you with very little. Uh, support in driving a smooth process. So yeah, fully with you on that. That sometimes it's the bottleneck comes in at the weakest point in that entire chain, and yes, the connectedness is an important issue. Yes, Mr. Pankaj.
So, thank you so much. I would, believe that every HR or maybe the L&D leaders or these people need to be very, very specific in terms of understanding the technology, and that terminology is called becoming a AI generalist. Now, what is this technological journalist or AI journalist? This is something, someone who understands what to fit in where. If I need to make my presentation a summary, I should know that how to use the Copilot. If I need to make, my own AI avatar, I should know that what are the tools available free of cost over there. If I need to have, that is my own best presentation, PowerPoint presentation, I should know there is something called Gamma AI, which and to understand some more research and analysis, I should know the where perplexity is really works for me. The cloud usage of cloud or the anthropic AI or maybe the chat GPT, everyone is aware. So a responsibility for learning, and I would say the immense number of tools available now, I am absolutely confused which one to use for what. When I go for my video editing, there are so many, I think 10 to 12 softwares are available free of cost. So nowadays the flow is so much. I need to be very, very specific what I want and which will work for me. So for the organization, either you are making PowerPoint presentation, either you are making your video editing or making, the small snippet for the learning or maybe something for the organization for which can be used by all the departments. I would say we need to really lead this in the organization. And when it comes to the technology, people should remember there is a one person who is always leading, especially the mindset with the technology. So absolutely, the augmentation of technology along with the blended, the humanistic approach will definitely going to help here. But are you really, when it comes to the discussion in the CXO rooms, people are talking about you or not? Right. If you do not know, bring someone who can really absolutely knowing about this. You need not to be that. There is something called different styles of learning. There is a V-shaped learning, W-shaped learning, T-shaped learning. So absolutely, you should know each and everything, all the aspects of this technology and the AI part of this, and have this specificity in that particular one domain, which will be evangelizing the people over there in the boardroom, which will talk about you and the technology for the future.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you all so much for all those inputs, and I'm sure the audience are taking notes here extensively on the pieces they need to focus on. We're coming to the tail end of our conversation today, and I was wondering, if there was one piece of advice that you had for our audience today, or for those who listen to this recording later, on a shift that they need to bring internally in order to bring a shift in the way people learn, what would that shift be according to you? And anyone in the panel can take this out.
So let me take this initiative. I always, my tagline for my, the status and everything, that I am limitless. So believe you me, in today's world, there is nothing which you can't learn, and so much so is available. But always keep yourself on the edge of learning. So always having that mindset of learning mindset, and that will be, very, very helpful for each one of us. This is the message from me.
Thank you for that.
Yes, I'd like to add on. Yes, we talked about the learning agility part of it. So what my advice to all the L&D professionals out here is that we say that the AI-related jobs are adventurous and they're the most interesting thing. But I would say current state for the next 3 to 4 years, our L&D job will one of the most exciting and more adventurous thing. If we are able to learn along with the other people, if we are able to implement those learning, and if you are able to research properly, then it is one of the most exciting jobs of the future, the L&D role that we are currently in. So all the best to all the people who are out there from this industry.
Thank you. And two of our panelists have so far spoken about the mindset and the approach to research that L&D professionals need to bring in to make the learning department to move towards a Netflix style approach. So something telling there. To our remaining two panelists as well, if you could share your inputs on this.
Sure. If there's one advice. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yadav, again, we did it.
No, Nishant, please go ahead. You go this time.
All right. Thank you. So if it comes to the learners, I think us included, L&D included, one thing like my peers said, build the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. About half of what we consider today's core skills are going to expire by 2030. So the one durable skill, which has always been durable, is being good at becoming good at things. So with AI in the fore, I think asking better questions is another skill you perhaps be getting better at. Because in an AI world, the person with the sharpest question wins. We are experiencing that day in, day out. So yeah, over to you, Yadav.
Now, what I would want to, again, definitely based on I think we all are thinking the same thing, is more to say it's just going to keep evolving. People spoke about the same thing when internet came into picture. They're talking about it again, saying when AI is coming into picture, there is going to be revolutions and changes like this which will keep happening. It's about how you take it on and not run away from it but run towards it, is what I would say. And running towards it faster will definitely make life a lot more easier, less worrisome, and all of that. You should always utilize the first mover benefit, and that can then definitely let you decide whether you want to move towards it or away, instead of just standing really far away from it and just talking. Yeah.
Wonderful advice coming in from everyone. Interestingly, as I was noticing, a lot of focus on what the L&D professionals need to do themselves and the way they can curate experiences for others. If I may add one point to this mix, I think it becomes very important for L&D professionals themselves to be able to take their focus away from content, because as we've heard today in our panel as well, that content is available in abundance. What we find is most times missing is the context and the experience on why I need to take on this course and why I need to show the willpower to complete a certain program and be able to apply the learning back. So focusing on the learner becomes very important. And in that, I think an important skill that we imbibe, I think I'm going to borrow from what Nishant has shared about asking the right questions and prompts. I think it becomes important for helping our learners also learn how to learn itself, and knowing that learning isn't just now relegated to online courses or workshops or sessions that they need to take time out for 2 days, that a program doesn't become automatically better because it is happening at a five-star hotel with some lunch and dinner being provided to you, that it is at the end of the day the reflection and the effort that they bring into the table. Right, we've got our last 2 minutes. I thought we'll do a very playful, quick thing. Again, this is open to all, but any two of you who would like to share on this. What is the one thing that you're hoping, as learning evolves, as the learning function evolves over the next few years, what are you hoping to be able to see when India celebrates its 100th year of independence in 2047? What are you hoping to see in the learning function come in by then?
I hope it becomes invisible. Efforts don't show. It's there, part of the workflow. Absolutely invisible.
Lovely. One final comment from any one of our panelists before we close.
I think Nishant really said it out there. That makes it, the invincible part kind of takes the cake. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. So on that note, I think we're at the top of the hour, and we've had a really engaging conversation here. I'd like to thank all of you for bringing in, of course, not just your expertise, but also your experience. Very balanced views that have come in here. This certainly is a lot of learning that individuals can take back from our conversation. The Netflixification, if I can coin that term, and if Webster is listening, I'm offering that word out for you. The Netflixification of learning is going to be here to stay. But it's important for us as L&D professionals to remember that it is not just about the content. That's what our partners and our vendors will provide us in terms of solutions. But it is also about bringing in the internal changes with the learners, with the managers, leaders playing a vital role in being able to support that spread of learning being available with a voracious appetite for learning as well within the organization. So on that note, I'd like to thank you all once again for being part of this panel. And Palak, I hand the mic back to you.
Thanks, Mr. Kenneth. So, as we conclude today's discussion, I want to thank our moderator, Mr. Kenneth, and to all our distinguished panelists for sharing their perspectives and experiences. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. We hope the discussion has provided practical insights and you can take back to your teams and organizations. Have a wonderful evening, and we look forward to seeing you at our next capability forum.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Palak.
Thanks,
Thank you, everybody.
everyone.
Thanks, Nishan. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
So much.